Well, that's it. 138 are now down to 48. We've only 15 races left in the Derby. Hard to believe we had 16 races in the second round, 8 of which were tonight. Kevin Hennessy, Boyle Sports, a good night's racing.
Yeah, brilliant night's racing. Probably not a great night for punters yet again, but plenty of surprises so far in this year's Derby, and that's what added to it, because no one really knows exactly what's going to win. I've asked probably 6-7 people on the way up here to the draw tonight, who would you make favourite? I've got a different answer nearly every time you ask someone. So plenty of opinions, and not really many people knowing exactly what's going to happen in the remaining weeks.
Sure, John Boyle skipped out of here tonight, all the results going in his favour.
Yeah, well, of course, it's been a decent round for bookies. You'd have to say odds on backers. I don't think, I was just saying to you earlier, off the top of my head, I can't remember one odds on favourite winning in the second round, so it's not been a great night for odds on backers.
Well, we'll look back on tonight's action. We'll start off, of course, Heat 9 was the first of this evening's, and Trap 2 Whizzing Archie, one of the odds on chances we were talking about, was Mind the Net. He looked one of the more bulletproof ones. He popped out, it looked like he was going to go and score, but Whizzing Archie was there on the inside. Mind the Net gave away a bit of ground, took a bump at the second board and all of a sudden Whizzing Archie was gone.
Yeah, it's hard to believe Whizzing Archie wasn't in the first round of the Derby. He only got in his reserve in the opening round. He's really shown his wealth, and he's been breathless in winning every heat. He's popping out in front, he's making it hard to pass him from the front. You'd have to say Mind the Net popped out, raced it over. He did get a little bit of a bump off the second bend, probably maybe cost him defeat, but Whizzing Archie's been one of the more impressive runners so far in this year's Derby. He's just popping out and he's proving very, very difficult to beat, and after the disappointment which Pat Curtin endured with Karai King later on in the card, I'm sure that'll give him a boost.
Ghost Town was the Thomond Park dog, as I call him. 500,000 people were there to see Munster beating New Zealand. It seems half the track were tonight on Ghost Town, yet he's returned 12-1. But I know one or two Shrewdies did back this dog. He was well drawn and won, popped out, and in fairness to him, he wasn't a lucky winner.
No, he wasn't, and he's been well back in the shops all week really at fancy prices, and the roar that went up in the crowd as he crossed the line was probably the biggest roar we've had in the opening 2 rounds. At a 12-1 winner, you wouldn't be expecting that to happen. He broke track record in Cork. He's got all the artillery to produce those sort of runs. It's just consistency seems to be his issue. Now he did it tonight. If they can keep him up to it, he definitely would have a chance. He was well drawn and won. The draw probably does matter to him. I thought Borneo into the third bend was closing, but he kicked again. He's a strong running sort, and he outran his price tonight. He definitely won't get that price next time.
Borneo ran his normal gutsy race in second. He starts, he stays, he does everything right. Drubby's Nidge is disappointing. There's clearly something not quite right with this fella.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The fact he didn't trial before the Derby when he was brought here would suggest that something probably wasn't right. It's hard to say when connections come out and say there's nothing wrong with the dog. They've no reason to lie. So I don't necessarily think there probably is something wrong with him. He's just not firing, and I think that's the issue. He might not actually be having any niggles, he may be, but he's just not firing. He's just not producing the runs we're expecting. He's still going to be towards the top end of the betting because of how well he was backed. There's no getting away from that fact. Everyone is saying he needs to be pushed out, but at the end of the day, the book will dictate as well. We all know he's got the runs in there. It's no, without question, he hasn't produced it as of yet, but it would be foolish to suggest he can't find some sort of form. And with a Derby that is so wide open, if he improves a little bit and gets back anywhere near his best, he's still probably the fastest dog in the competition, but he will need to find it. He will need to find it quickly. He doesn't have a great draw in round 3.
Heat 11, we saw Drubby's Norris, the UK Raider. Again, he's frustrating at traps, but tonight was probably lucky enough to get the gaps, but when he got the gap at that opening corner, he really drove it. He quickened up so impressively down the back straight and around the second bend.
Yeah, he did, and if you were a fan of Drubby's Norris, I'm sure you had your money down tonight, because despite being a dead railer, he probably had one of the better draws in the card, and that might sound very silly. An inside seam be drawn in trap 5, but the fact is Tyre Sugar Ray in 4 was always going to go in, which he did and collided with Killinane Baby. There was plenty of room on the run to the bend for Norris. There wasn't that much room at the actual corner. There was 4 in a line, if my mind serves me right, and he still drove around the bend. And from the second bend, if he's close, you know what's going to happen. Everyone looked to the clock. The 29.70 looked as though it was probably going to be the fastest time of the round until the latter heats, but he was very, very impressive. The one issue I might just have with him is that run to the bend. He had a brilliant make-up tonight with 4 going in and 6 staying wide. He won't get that every round, and he will need to show a little bit more early to the bend if he's to turn us close in future.
On so to Heat 12, and here Green Prince flashed out, made every inch of the ring. Of course, his task was made that bit easier with Karai King. Confirmation from Pat Curtin this evening, he did a grassless muscle. He was gone by halfway. Eccleston ran well to finish second, and of course, Barefoot Agent. Another one for your father, filling the frame in fourth or third. He's some dog to finish, but it was Green Prince tonight that he was comfortable enough out front.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Liam Downland would prefer if I didn't tip Green Prince, to be honest. Anytime I seem to tip, I love the dog, and anytime I tip him, he just finishes second. If I don't tip him, I steer clear of him this week, and he went on and won. So I'm going to steer clear of him for Liam's sake. Yeah, Barefoot Age and Ecclestone ran on well, but the race was over early. Green Prince I've nagged on about how much I think this competition lacks a bit of early pace. He doesn't lack early pace, and he's only a small dog, but if he gets an inside draw and can continue to come away, he's in a tough race next week. That's a good heat that he's in. He's drawn in 3, I think, but if he can pop out, he's probably the best early pacer for me in the competition. If he can get round the bend in front, I think he's got a great chance. Barefoot Age and Ecclestone were massive prices just to get through at the opening bend. They were way off the pace. Ecclestone, I was very, very impressed with him. He's normally better out front. He set on very, very well. Barefoot Agent is that kind of dog. He's kind of a little bit frustrating. He kind of finds trouble rather than looking to avoid it, and he can stay qualifying, as you can see, 11 seconds with just 8 wins. He just seems to generally find 1-2 good, but Green Prince, if he can keep trapping, don't be surprised if he's banged there come final line.
On so to heat 13, and here Quick Blaze. His early speed proved crucial in the end. It was a war of attrition in the finish, but he held on in 29.99, one of the slower heats. Lenson Sanchez, having just his 4th career start, cut in at traps, get a bit of trouble, and stayed on rightly. When you're passing Shirley Bassey, you know you're staying, and the 3 of them you could have put a tea cloth over the 3 of them as they crossed the line.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, I thought Lenson Sanchez would win the race, turning for home. I think he's got a bright future, the pup. I wouldn't discount him that way. I just think maybe this Derby is coming too soon from. I thought he had a great chance tonight. It was 4A1 dogs in this heat, so if he was ever going to win a heat, I thought he would win this heat. I thought he turned close enough to pick up Quick Blaze. Quick Blaze stayed on much better than I expected. I didn't think Quick Blaze stayed that well in the previous round, and he stayed on much better tonight. He's got lightning quick early pace, and yet I'm coming back to the term that there isn't outstanding early pace in this competition, and there you have Quick Blaze at a big price, similar earlier on, and like with Ghost Town. So like if you have early, you have a chance regardless of what price is beside your name, because there are so many slow starters in this competition. If you can get out in front, you've got a great chance. Moving
on to heat 14, and here Thorn Valley. This fellow winning was evidence perhaps that the track, although the times weren't sensational, they weren't coming home, or they weren't stopping coming home, and Thorn Valley, not a noted stayer despite being a son of College Causeway, he got to the front, and in fairness to him, he had all the answers. Budgie Bypass gave away plenty of ground. He runs so wide. Fiery Splendor didn't make life easy for him, but Thorn Valley did nothing wrong to win.
Yeah, and I'm delighted for Jerry Mealy. I'm really delighted for Mary Gilbert and Jerry Mealy to both see their runners in the next round. It's a credit to all connections. It wouldn't be the biggest trainers in the competition, but they're definitely up there with the most loved, and I'm delighted to see them in there for their interest. Thorn Valley done little wrong. He's a good Harold's Cross runner. Slightly disappointed with Fiery Splendor here, to be honest. I just don't think he sparkled for whatever reason. He was in a fine position going down the back straight. I just don't think everything is 100% there, because he went clear of Budgie Bypass last week. Budgie Bypass picked him up going nearly down the back, so you will be a bit concerned about the favourite there, but you can take nothing away from the other 3. Budgie Bypass only having his 9th start tonight. He's done little wrong in his career, and he's improving with every run. He's got plenty of early. He keeps running wide on the bends, but he is young, and if he can learn to stay in, I'm not just talking from the heart here because he is my dad's dog, but I do think he's one at, you'll get any price you want, I think, on him at nearly this stage, but I think he could be thereabouts. But as I say, I'll come back to it. It was a real sentimental heat, this, just to see Jerry Mealy as Thorn Valley and Swords 1 from Mary Gilbert go through.
Now moving on to heat 15, and this of course was European Queen. This was a big run, 29.56. It was a strange little run to the corner. There was plenty of piling in the inside, and she's not noted for blistering early speed, but she looked like she had massive early speed, and once she hit the front, I know Highview Premier stayed on stoutly to get a close enough second, but she was never going to be picked up.
No, but I'm in the same view as you, Ian. I didn't think European Queen had any early. I'd go as far as to say I didn't think she had any early at all, but that's 2 weeks in a row she's after turning very, very close. Now whether it's luck or whether she's deceptively quick, her sectionals are not good. Now whether she's going to the bend deceptively faster than she appears to be going, but she's turning close. If she turns close, there's not many in this competition that'll keep her away. Highview Premier ran an absolute cracker back in second. Has only had 1 win in 9 starts, but you have to say he was an eye-catcher in defeat tonight. If he can learn to start a little bit quicker, he could be a force to be reckoned with as well. But you would just have to say there was plenty of barging on the inside, which made the race for the 6th. But I don't know, I don't think she'd early, and she's turning very, very close. She could be one also at a decent price to keep a close line. She probably won't be as big now after that run. 29.56 is a very, very good run, and she's definitely got the ability to be there.
She's over 2.5 years of age, of course. It's only her 7th career start, and she's never been out of the frame. She's won 5 of those 7, so she's clearly gone the right way. Highview Premier, as you say, 1 win now from 9 starts. Unfortunately, in those 9, I think I backed him in 6 of them, and except for the 1, I didn't back the one time he won. And Shopping Basket, we just have to give him a mention. After early traffic problems, he found himself in 4th spot in the position to qualify when Bailiff Turbo faded, and he got 3rd. We know he's capable of far better. And then, of course, on to Heat 16, and one of the most popular winners of the night, the evergreen Ballymacvic. This was one that sort of went to plan. The top 3 in the market finished first, 3rd and 2nd, but Ballymacvic was very much the favourite of the pack stands here tonight, and there was a bit of a cheer when he hit the front.
Yeah, well, there always will be when Ballymacvic goes in and wins, because he is the one that everyone loves to see winning. He ran really, really well. He's got good early pace. Your dad was telling me earlier on that he'd make him favoured now. After seeing all the dogs running in the 2nd round, he'd make him favoured. He was the one that impressed him the most, and I can see why. The lack of early here, the lack of the top few in the betting, producing the big runs. He's still running really, really well. 29.65 is the best run he's produced in Shelbourne in a while. He ran really well to be runner-up in the Boyle Sports Race of Champions down in Tralee, and the way he drove the opening bend there tonight, you'd have to say his hunger's not gone out of the game, and if his hunger's not gone, he's still willing in shrewd hands. He could well be there come the latter stages, and everyone would absolutely love to see him make the final again.
Very much so. These were the top 3 in this market were Indigo Jack, of course, and Tyra Supermac, along with Ballymacvic. And as you say, all 3 have early speed. Tyra Supermac didn't turn as close as he could tonight, didn't quite kick the cake, but if he does get an inside draw, he can go up fast, and these 3 dogs could certainly progress to the latter stages.
Yeah, you'd expect the 3 to progress a couple more rounds. Indigo Jack likes to lead. He was away well, but Vic just got up his inside at the opening bend. He did well to qualify because he doesn't stay this 550-yard trip, and when he turned the back straight behind, often those pacemakers just throw in the towel. He didn't. He stuck to his guns well. Tyre Supermac, I spoke to PJ Fahey after the opening round, and I said I was much more impressed with the dog staying the 550-yard trip. To be honest, I didn't think he would. And he said to me he is more of a 5.25 dog, but he is staying better, and if he continues to stay better, he is still a young pup with an impressive strike rate so far. And if he gets an inside draw, like you said, with the early pace he possesses, he could be one to keep a close eye on.
Point about Ballymacvic, of course, it says June 10 behind his breathing there in the card. If it was June 11, he probably would be Derby favourite.
Without question. You'd have to say the top few haven't produced a run similar to his 29.65. They haven't got close to his 29.65. Hold'em Spy is probably the one potentially who can do it. If the pace in front of him is doing 29.65, he'll probably do it. But Skywalker, Farlow, Drew Beesnage, they haven't produced it just yet. They potentially can, but of the top few in the betting, Ballymacvic, if he was a June 11, he's just won the Champion Stakes, he should be probably favoured.
Well, that's it. That's a look back at the complete 2nd round between Thursday and Saturday night. We're now looking forward to the 3rd round. 48 dogs remaining. It'll go down to 24. It's still wide open. I'm sure the bookmakers are going to struggle to even make a clear favourite. We'll soon find out, but that's it for tonight at Shelbourne Park. Join us next week for the entire 3rd round, which will be on Saturday night. Watch it on Barking Buzz on IGB.ie. Better again, get yourself to Shelbourne Park.